Matt, this is Clock Tower SNES Famicon Edition. We're talking about it. It's a game. That's about as much as I can say, and hardly one of that. Matt, let's get into this with the 5 points of criteria: the graphics, sound, gameplay, fun factor, challenge. We grade these out of 5. Your total score out of 25 is the overall grade. It's simple fucking math, people. We do the mean average of our scores, and it's simple. You'll catch on. Matt, let's start with the graphics. I, for one, find these graphics to be both great and horrible at the same time. I
That's
like
interesting.
I like the atmospheric mood they set. I like some of the more gross kind of macabre scenery that they try to set up. Like there's a shot where the girl finds her friend in the shower, like tied with her hands to the nozzle. That was horrifying. Like I was like, ugh, that's gonna haunt me for a while. But then you see Scissor Man, I'm like,
Yeah,
why
okay.
is the villain from Resident Evil 4 here?
Why does he look like the dude from AC/DC? You know?
Like, Jesus Christ, Angus Young, I ain't scared of you. Because you're dead. Rest in peace. But I'm not like super fucking terrified of the dude. But like yeah, on the screen you can see a chicken thrown out the window. Like that was horrifying. I was like, what? It's messed up. But then you see the little dude with the scissors. I'm like, you're like if Jason Voorhees had someone to bully.
Oh man, dude.
Like you're awful. So I'm gonna split the difference, and I'm gonna go with a 3 because it sets a great mood. It does have great kind of pixelation art, but the character design for some of the villains are just not great. Plus, kudos, they actually did design Jennifer after Jennifer Connelly, and I'm like, that's the least shocking thing I've heard in 30 years. Because I saw her, I'm like, that's Jennifer Connelly, and they're like, yeah, we totally designed her after Jennifer Connelly. I'm like, so
Like you
I'm
got
gonna
it.
I'm gonna give it a 4 because Jennifer Connelly. 4 official grade.
It just gets another point just for because another
Cause
person's
it's
in it.
Jennifer
Okay.
Connelly.
Truth be told, that's kind of pretty close to where I'm falling with this because I feel like this game is only going to really have two strengths in it at all, and I believe those two are going to be, and we'll get to sound in a minute, but there's that category and there's also graphics and atmosphere. I believe that's the only strengths it's got going for it.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as this game goes, I love the atmosphere. I found it spooky and creepy. I love the visual effects they had in certain rooms. Like I really liked the smoke effect they used a lot in this game. I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was cool, like especially when you're in the bathroom and stuff. That really freaked me out. But yeah, you take one look at the bad guy and you're like, I'm not so scared anymore. This isn't really that creepy anymore. But initially, it sets it perfectly. So yeah, it does not get a 5, but it for sure gets a solid 4, no question.
As far as sound, this game is heralded for its sound design, and I'm like, well, okay. I guess we have different opinions on things. I'm fine with the lack of music because it does set an ambiance with the game that more correlates kind of alongside classic horror films.
Mhm.
Maybe not classic, but like 70s and 80s. Like all right, I get what they're going for. But as far as some of the sound effects, oh my god, I was rooting for Scissor Man because every time she walked, clock, 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 clock. I'm like, oh my god, we get it. She's wearing clogs on fucking. Get it? Can we
Let me just
not?
get her already.
So I'm gonna have to dock points for that. The sound effect music for the villain is also it's noticeable, and you're like, oh no, I'm scared, and then you see him, and you're like, hey, never mind, that's funny. So in my head, it became Yakety Sax. So like I was like, no, I'm good. I'll give sound a 3 though, because it's fine, but it's not great. It's overplayed, and the clock 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 clock. Like, no, I'm good. I'm so
I
good.
uh, I th- I think the music is honestly a little bit of a mixed bag. I don't think it really is that great, but I do think on my end it's the sound effects that really help. I love all that. I love all the creepiness to this kind of stuff. Like when you get close to something and then you hear that like neat 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 sound. That every time I was wondering what the fuck was going to be in the room next. And but past that, man, like once you see the villain, once he chases after you, it wants to establish that sense of dread, but you can't honestly be that scared when most of the time he's not really after you, you know? So the music kind of feels like out of place, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I do appreciate the silence though in parts. I appreciate the fact that they didn't go all the way and have music in the whole thing. You know, setting the silent tone and making you uneasy about doing stuff. That's a well done effect, and I appreciate that. But I can't give it any higher than an average score based on the fact that it's not enough to creep me out to the point where it's memorable. You know, there's nothing here that really sticks out, so it's got to be a 3.
The only thing this game was missing was the occasional stars, because I would have marked out for that shit. Oh, Nemi, you've changed so much. All right, gameplay. Does this game have gameplay?
Oh God.
So, it's a point-and-click adventure. You can literally get scared so much that your character freezes for long periods of times. That's awful.
Oh man.
Hate that. So I don't know. It functions for what it is. Like, I'm gonna try to look at this for what it is. It's a point and click adventure. Do I have issues with how it functions as a point and click adventure? No, not entirely. My only complaint is when you are in rooms that try to have different parallels where you can move into the room and out of the room, and you're no longer on that static rail, that depth of field, if you will. You can't run around the clock tower, dude. You can't run around the little scissor man guy. Scissor boy, actually, is what he is.
No, once you're in there, you're fucked.
Right, like you're stuck going head on. It's like, but there's room to the left and right. Nope, gotta go straight. But that's dumb. So I'm gonna docket points for that. But as far as the point and click availability of this, that would be my biggest gripe. I watched the SNES Drunk video, which is, I know where you got this inspiration from. I'm not stupid. And he credited
I've seen
the
it
fact,
from a lot of other videos, actually. He's not the first one I've seen it from.
he credited other points like the stairs being a bigger issue. So I don't have that big of an issue with that, but the overall avoidance of the villain, I would say, is my biggest one. So I'll give it a 3 because it's a point and click adventure, so it is what it is. But I don't think the stalking mechanic really works in a point and click adventure. So I'll dock it for that reason alone. So
I think my issue with more or less with the point and click aspect of something like this is whenever I think of point and click, I think of joystick or mouse with the idea. I always feel like these early ideas of implementing that concept, they're not really, like, how do I say this? They don't push themselves to be like fully functional when you really need them to be. If that makes any sense. Like, it's when you need something in the moment, it's hard to really click on the object. Like, I'm trying to scatter around, and I'd rather have precise accuracy. But you can't demand it out of something that's trying the idea for the first time, especially on an older console. D-pads just weren't meant for it. I'm sorry. God, but is it really that bad? I don't think so. There's definitely some things I would like to have better. I honestly think that the running and stuff like that could have been better. I feel like maybe if he had the ability to move or at least interact with items to drop on the scissor dude to get away from him at times, that would have helped. I can't say it's great though. I'm actually going to go low. I think I might want to go low. I might go 2. I'm just not feeling it, honestly.
Now it's time for the fun factor. Coach Boone, tell us how much fun we're going to have this week on this recording. 0 fun, sir. Actually, that's a PD line.
Oh,
Don't
God.
worry about it. I'm going to give fun factor a 2 because I had no fun. The thing that I will credit this for keeping me engaged above a 1, which is our lowest score, we cannot actually give it a 0, is that the story was definitely creepy. And I as weird as this sounded, because I'm not anti anything, but like I was kind of seeing how these chicks were gonna go. I was like, all right, like I know y'all gonna die. I just want to see how. Some of them I was underwhelmed, others I was whelmed, none I was overwhelmed. So I'll give fun factor 2 because there's definitely a macabre sense of playing this game. Like this is like a car crash game Like, you know people are dead in that car wreck, but you can't turn away for some reason. So I'm definitely going to give Fun Factor
No.
a 2.
I don't even think I could get it there, man. I honestly don't think it. I'm one of those people when I play a game, I want to know like kind of exactly what I'm doing. I get this is exploration and all. I understand that. I understand this is the vibe that the game is supposed to be going for. But my main issue is not knowing what to do and having to experiment and not yielding the best results. It takes me out of anything that could possibly be enjoyable, just being lost and wandering and scattering around. I'm not scared or enjoying anything at that point. So I feel like I just feel empty playing this game, if that makes any sense. So for me personally, I'm going with the 1. I did not have that much fun at all.
All right, then. That takes us to challenge. How hard was this game and was it enjoyable to beat? Yeah?
I guess that's a better term than I could use.
I would consider this game difficult for what it's trying to be, but I wouldn't consider it impossible to beat. The game is more kind of, oh, we're going to shock you with our deviant behavior. Shout out to Empire Records. But I wouldn't necessarily say that the game is hard, nor would I necessarily say the game is unfair. So I'll split the difference. I'll say the challenge is a 3. You know, if you're able to enjoy the premise of the game and the layout of how it's played, then I think you'll have enough of a reason to try to finish it. And it's not overly hard. The game is definitely very forgiving with the deaths, so I'll give it a 3. I feel like they give themselves enough of an out, but still, it's not a mechanic setup-based game, being a point-and-click adventure that I would say, warrants the chasing scissor man idea. I think that was the big mistake of the franchise, at least for this
sure.
game. So, Matt, what about you?
I honestly did you actually finish it? I just curious.
Yeah, I got one of the
endings.
endings. Yeah, it only took me about an hour.
Did you get I'm wondering if you got the same one I got. I went into where the car was and I found the key. Did you get that ending?
No, I got the one where she's standing on the clock tower looking out all by herself.
I got the one where you grab the key and she goes, "Wait, what about the others?" I'm like, "Fuck that! Get me out of this game! Get me out of this house!"
Save yourself, Jennifer Connelly.
Just save yourself from this terrible shit. No, I literally could. If you pretty much go all the way to the left, I believe, like up the stairs, the whole thing breaks. You go all the way to the end. I beat this in a half hour. Like not even knowing I could. I just by freaking accident. I just accident. So I don't know, man. Like to me, that still doesn't warrant a decent grade. I just didn't find anything about this satisfying, and I wouldn't say it was worth it. So I'm honestly gonna go with 2. Honestly.
That takes us to our final grade of a 13.5 out of 25. That was unexpected. That's an overall grade of a 54. That's not strong. You didn't do enough to warrant a better score. So I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you want from us? We play what you make.
The biggest issue the thing I have an issue with is I felt like seeing this game, we're in the spooky ooky season. I felt like this would have been like the perfect thing to do it. It was essentially different than just straight platformers or action games. I felt like we could play an atmospheric game. It might be worth it. And turns out, not so much.
Well, we're done with this. We're going to hop on over to the recording side of things and record the next edition of the GameCorp podcast. It's back. It's got a new co-host and a host and new time and I don't know, other things, I guess. We're going to record it. The link's going to be down below because it's going to be recorded and uploaded before this goes to YouTube, and this is on YouTube. So like, hey, what's up? So do yourself a favor and download it and check it out. And if not, you're depriving yourself of an hour plus of us yelling at each other. So, I mean, I don't know. That sounds like a fun time to me. Matt, say goodnight.
Mostly you yelling at me. Good night, everybody.